Welcome into episode 13 of JD's Empire Sports Talk. Today we're going to talk about the Knicks, Rangers, and St. John's. A little bit of a different setup now. We got a nice mic here with some audio, good audio board, so it should be sounding a lot more crisp. I have to record a little differently over Zoom, but it's okay. I think the quality will still be good. Already at episode 13, like I said when I opened. So we'll have this week, we'll have of course, this episode, the predictions for the NFC and AFC Championship, which is going to be two huge games. Another Jets episode that we didn't do this week because I know they have Aaron Glenn as their coach now, but we're still waiting on the GM to be confirmed. So we can do a show on both of those guys and see how the whatever duo they put together, how that will be. But I don't know what's going to happen with them. But let's stay in the positive with three teams right now that are playing really, really good. I know the Knicks. We didn't talk about them last week, but they are playing pretty good basketball like they have been the entire year. Uh, got to see Karl Anthony Towns and Jalen Brunson both nominated as All-Star starters, which was a little surprising to some. I knew Brunson was going to be a starter just based off of the year he's had, and not many guards are playing better than him right now. You really can't name any. He's playing really, really good. Karl Anthony Towns as well is playing good, but he was injured a few games, so I thought that would be something that they took into account more heavily than they did. But I'm not going to complain. It's really good to see two Knicks as a tandem going to start. I mean, listen, if you have two guys in the entire Eastern Conference starting in a five-man lineup, that means you're playing really good, and I'm glad both of those guys were rewarded for that. You never know, maybe Mikal Bridges can get in as a bench vote. I don't see it, but it's possible. OG Anunoby and Josh Hart won't be in the All Star game, but I'm sure they'll get bottom of the barrel votes just because of how good they played this year. Not All Star worthy, but they played good, so they can get recognized a little bit for that. But going back to what I said before, 29 and 16 now. They are playing um, just their typical brand of basketball that they've played the entire year. They have an important five-game home stretch coming up, all against Western Conference teams that are playing over 500 basketball. So it's something that they need to be ready for. I think they will be, but they have to just keep plugging away, see what happens. I know they got Sacramento, Memphis, Denver, the Lakers, and the Rockets. All really, really good teams, and all teams that are playing that are hot right now. Like the Kings are over 500, but they didn't play good in the beginning. So all these wins have been coming recently. Memphis, the Lakers, the Nuggets, all those teams are just playing outstanding. And the Rockets, very big surprise this year. I think people expected them to be better, but not this good. They're playing at an all-time level, so really, really good to see that as well. So we'll see the rise of the Western Conference coming in against the Knicks and see what they're made of. They've had a bunch of days off as well, so they should be fully rested. Next thing I wanted to get into, which is perfect timing, was the bench production. So I know I've criticized the bench for being mostly useless for the entire season, just based off of who's playing and very little minutes and all that stuff. But I do have to say the bench is coming together. Coach Tibbs is trusting them more. I think he's realized that he can't play these starters so much. It's just not sustainable. So I think he's realized he's got to go to these guys more than he wants to, maybe, but he has to at this point. Something I called him out on a few weeks ago that you have to try to do that. You have to go in there and say, okay, Precious Achua, Campaign, those are going to be the guys that get more minutes to. They're going to play good. They're going to be fine. They're going to go in there and do their job. They're not going to screw it up. It may not be as the level of Jalen Brunson and Karl Anthony Towns, but you're going to have guys in there that are more than capable. And both guys off the bench right now, they're scoring points. Campaign not playing much in the second half, but when he gets in there for his 8 to 10 minutes in the into the first and end of the first into the second quarter, or even if he doesn't play in the first quarter, man, he's a spark plug. I mean, he's just been great. You sit back there, you look at 10 points in 8 minutes, 10 points in 11 minutes, 12 points in 13 minutes. If you can get that every night or even every other night, I mean, they're getting it every right now. But if you can get that every other night, I mean, you can't complain about that. That's terrific. Campaign just being a spark plug like that. Precious Achua playing important minutes, especially with Cat dealing with it's on a thumb injury that's going to go away. He's going to need surgery on that at some point, and he has no time to really do that. So he's gonna play with that all bandaged up and covered and everything like that. But that's an injury that you never know. It could be a game where he jams that thing again and he's done. So they have to really count on these guys, like I said, off the bench. They're doing more than maybe they're asked of, but they got to do it. They want to win the championship. I still think they have another move in them. A few weeks left till the deadline. I think they're going to go out there and make something happen. I know Mitchell Robinson's on the mend. He's going to be back soon. He's been out for a really long time after the injury he suffered in the playoffs with Joel Embiid, kind of not helping his cause there. Which I know me as a Knicks fan, I wasn't too happy about that. So we'll see how Mitch Rob can even recover. If he does, I don't know if he'll even be back for the regular season. I mean, they've been saying he'll be back in January. He hasn't even gotten on the court yet. So hopefully he can get back soon. I still think, regardless, they still think they go out there and make something happen for another shooter because Landry Shamit's okay. Like, listen, he'll do the job and everything like that, but I still think they got more potential in that spot, that winger spot, to give Bridges and OG a break. So I think they got something more there. Going over to the other team, well, both of these teams have been playing in MSG that I want to talk about next, but we'll stay in the true MSG home. The Rangers, listen, they're playing. I talked about it a couple of weeks ago. Last week I talked about what they can get to if they keep up this hot streak, and boy, they've been hot. Igor, since he's come back from his injury, 7 games, hasn't lost in regulation yet. He's 6-0-1 since coming back. I mean, he's been great. That's how I know, or you know, and I know as true Ranger fans and those who even just watch hockey, you know he's definitely healthy now, and he was definitely hurt before he went on the IR. There's no doubt about it because of how he's played. I mean, he had 15 losses before he even got hurt. Hasn't had one in 7 games. He's been dynamite. The last 3 games has let up a combined 2 goals. I mean, he's just looked like himself. And like I said he can do it. He can put the team on his back. The defense also has been. You got to give them props. They made 2 trades. They traded Kako and Truba out for 2 young defensemen, and it just worked. It's worked out for them. They got younger at the position, which I mean comes with that. When you're getting younger, more speed as well, which is great. Very very good to see how they're gelling together. Which it took a little while, but they're doing it. I mean, listen, this team is. I If I were any other team in the Eastern Conference, the way they're playing right now, I wouldn't want to play them. I wouldn't. Why would you want to play them? They have a goalie that can shut down any team. They have an offense that is has the potential of scoring a ton of goals a game, and you're seeing that recently. They're scoring a lot more. They're playing up to their numbers and what we've been accustomed to seeing. Zibanejad's still not playing his best, but he's been playing better. I know I've been very critical of him. He's going out there. He's doing his thing as much as he can. I mean, I know his game's limited now, so it's a little tough, but I think he's doing all right, doing his job. And listen, in the month of January, I know I gave the Igor stat 6-0-1 since his injury. Even when Quickie gets in there, he's eight. Well, they were 8-1-3 this year. Yeah, this year technically, 2025 of January, 8-1-3. Quick's doing a good job. I know Domingue got a win in there at some point. So these guys are it's a team effort, and they've risen from the bottom of the Eastern Conference. Like last week, they were the third worst Eastern Conference team. Now they're sitting 1 point out of the top wildcard spot. I mean, listen, this is a team. I think they can even catch the Devils. They're 8 points away from them. Why not? Devils haven't played good hockey. Rangers go in there, they do their thing, like they have been. Carry it into February, finish out January strong. They can go and catch the Devils. Talked about it last week. Why not? Why not be the hottest team going into the postseason? This is the perfect time to get hot. I mean, if you sit back though, past couple of years, what has been the MO of the Rangers? Oh, they start out, have a terrific regular season. They don't let up. They get into the postseason. That's when they fizzle out. Maybe this can be a change in philosophy. Maybe they did things differently. I mean, they might not have been the start they wanted, but if they're gonna play like this at a clip like this for the rest of the regular season. Get into the playoffs. I mean, uh, they could do it. And I know this front office is not afraid to go out there and make the move to put this team over the top. They're just not. They're not afraid. They'll go out there. We've seen it over the years. They if this team's gonna win, they're gonna go out there and get the pieces. If they're not gonna play well like they did, I mean, who knows? Jacob Trouba is a captain of this team. I think not the right guy for the job description, especially of the New York Rangers, who have a really good history of great captains. I think they gave it to the wrong guy, and I think they realized that. You don't see many times that that a uh, a team names someone a captain and they trade him within a year or two of that happening. So I think they realized they made the mistake. They had to get rid of the toxic attitude from the locker room. They sometimes the best thing teams can do is when they realize they screwed up. I know there's teams like I root for, the Jets. They don't tend to do that very much, except just fire coaches and bring in ones that don't qualify pretty much. But I think that's the thing. They go, you sit there and you go, okay, that didn't work. We got to get rid of him. Capo Caco, listen, we all knew he had talent. He's showing it with the Kraken right now, but he never fulfilled that top pick potential with the Rangers, and he wasn't going to. It's just the way the team is structured. His time on the ice wasn't going to increase. You know, Laviolette's a veteran guy, and Kako's still a young, really young player, even though he's been in the league for a few years now. So I think that was just a move they had to make. They brought in the defenseman with a really long last name that I don't know how to say. So I'm not going to even get into that. But he's been good for the Rangers. Not a household name. He was another guy, young draft pick, gets a new home. Sometimes you got to do that. Sometimes you got to change the scenery for you to have success. And I'm a big believer in that. Sometimes you're in a situation where the variety of things it's just not going to work out, and you got to move on. You got to try to see what's best for you, and the organization got to see what's best for them, and it works. Uh, Most of the time, it does, especially for young players. And we're seeing that with Capo Caco and uh, getting traded out and what he's doing for the Kraken and of course for the Rangers, what they've got in return. So both of those teams, the pro teams in playing in MSG, doing a great job. Knicks and Rangers just continuing to play at their level of hockey, which and basketball, of course, and staying with New York, of course, the New York theme. St. John's, man, I can't give coach Rick Pitino enough credit. He's just been awesome. Every game they go out there, they don't do anything flashy. They don't. They they play great defense. They can't shoot from three, like I said. They are terrible from beyond the arc, and they somehow still winning games. They're a second half team too, which bodes very, very well for March Madness. Because I know in March Madness, we all see it. The teams that get hot, they continue that into the tournament. They play really good, especially in the second half. You can be up by 25 points going into the second half. That team comes out there, flips a switch. You can come back and win. And we've seen St. John's numerous times lately going out there. No matter who the opponent is, if it's a lesser opponent, they're usually taking care of them pretty much the entire game. But a team like Xavier, they're not. They're middle of the pack in the Big East, but they're a dangerous team. They went in there. They're like, okay, we can do this. Why not? We can beat them. And they come out after the Xavier had that attitude. And St. John's wasn't ready in the first half. Got the pep talk they needed in the second half. Come out there, bring the pressure, score easy baskets, and we seen that's what they do. They did it. Like I said, a few different times in the past couple of weeks, and now they're 8-1 in the Big East. They have not been 8-1 in the Big East. I mean, I wasn't born for it. They're over like 30 years. They're setting all really a lot of records, and it's making a lot of people proud. Just the way they're playing. They're playing tough. They're gritty. They're going to get those loose balls. They're going to pressure you as soon as you score a basket. They're getting in there. They're going to get a pressure, force a turnover, get some easy layups. They're making their free throws now, which is very good. I mean, if they have 3 losses this year. They haven't been able to shoot good from three at all. So just think if they can get that, they're a national championship type team. I think if they're able to start shooting from 3 point range, and they have time to figure that out. I know they're in first place, but I said that last week that UConn and Marquette are top dogs as well. I think St. John's is getting ahead of UConn, just the way the season's going. UConn has some injuries that they're dealing with, and they're playing a lot of close games that people didn't expect. So I think that they're surpassing them, but the Marquette is very, very good. 7-1 in the Big East, so they can easily be tied with St. John's after the weekend because St. John's doesn't play. They don't play until the middle of next week against Georgetown once again. So I think that you know, this is a team ranked number 20 in the country. They have Marquette twice and UConn twice in the final stretch of the Big East. So that's a big telling point as to see where this team stacks up. And they've had challenges this year, but I think that there's more in the tank for them, and I think they can be ready for it. 17-3 going into they got a 8-1 in the Big East. They got to win a few more. I think if they win 5, 6 more games, I think they can win more than that. But I think if they win 5, 6 more games, they're in a really, really good spot and going into the Big East tournament. But we'll get into more of that during the next few weeks coming up because they're playing good, so it definitely has to be talked about. Like I said, the Knicks are going to play. They keep winning, but there's nothing new to talk about. We don't have to do it. Rangers, how they started when we first started talking about them to what they've gotten to now, has been good. So we're going to keep talking about them. That's the same thing. Like no Jets episode this week because there was no news up until they did get a new coach, like I talked about earlier, but they don't have a GM yet. So we'll see what happens with that. But episode 13 is going to end here in a few seconds. I just want to encourage everyone to go out there, follow the TikTok page, like, comment, share all these videos. I know I had my Jets rage moment, instant reaction. I can give you more of those depending on what my teams do. I know behind me it says the New York Mets. They're a team that is starting up soon, trying to make the team better because the Dodgers are signing everyone. So I know the Mets lost to them in the NLCS. They want to try to get to that point and beat them. So I'm sure they have a few more moves up their sleeves. People, ones that people aren't expecting. David Stearns does not show his hand. He's going to go out there, make moves, and when they happen, that's when people know about it. Otherwise, you won't know about it. So I think that people got to stop overreacting. Oh, Alonso's not coming back. I'm sure he has a game plan to back that up. He's not going to just let a guy that hit 40 home runs, who is limited on other senses of his game. So I could see understand why David Stern doesn't want him back. But we'll see what happens with that. A lot more coming up. Episode 14 and 15 next week. I know the Super Bowl isn't next week; it's the week after, so we could do a Super Bowl preview because it's a big game, of course. So keep following the Instagram, TikTok. Try to get our numbers up. We really appreciate it. But JD, signing off here for episode 13. Thank you for watching.